today, so that'll make the hearing a lot easier. Then we'll move back to staff rebuttal if there are any questions that need to be answered or comments that need to be addressed. And then we'll move into final comments from the applicant. So pretty simple and straightforward format. I don't anticipate that today's hearing will probably need to go on for too long. All testimony does have to be sworn in. So if any of you will be testifying today, even if that's answering questions, just need you to raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding? And just say, you have to say, I do. All right. And by state law, I'm only allowed to consider evidence that's presented in the hearing today. I'm not allowed to talk to staff in advance of the hearing or anybody else or read about it in newspapers. That way, everyone has equal access to the information that's being considered for the decision. And I believe the last page of the staff report, yep, right there, has a list of exhibits that staff gave me in advance of the hearing. That's on pages 10 and 11. And I will share my screen to show what those are. Let's see here. There we go. All right. And Mr. Rodriguez, is the exhibit list visible right now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah. So there we have 25 documents. I've read through those documents already. It includes the staff report, the application, site survey, early site exploration, architectural elevations, and so forth. Does anyone have any objections over entry of those documents? If you do, just unmute yourself and say you object. And I'm assuming I probably won't get any from the applicant. So hearing no objections from staff or applicant, I'll go ahead and admit exhibits 1 through 25. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, go ahead.
Sure. So I would like to submit exhibit 26 as an addendum to the staff report. Exhibit 26 is a resolution of the Board of Pierce County Commissioners vacating a portion of Orient Street. That exhibit reference utility access for the proposed development. So
okay.
I'm including it as exhibit 26. Can I just email you after or do I have to do it during? Technically,
yeah, unless applicants, do you need to see that document or, well, let me just confirm. I mean, applicants are able to say something. Let me just hear that you can get through. Maybe
if I need to unmute them.
Yeah. Do we have an applicant representative here?
Yeah.
Yes,
this is Caroline Hadeen, the applicant.
Okay, fantastic. And Ms. Hadeen, do you have any objections to entry of the vacation order that Mr. Rodriguez wants to get in the record?
We do not. This was information that we forwarded to him.
Okay, perfect. All right, then I'll go ahead and admit exhibit 26. All right, thank you, Ms. Hadeen. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Ramon Rodriguez. I am the project planner for land use case number 20-00124, a conditional use permit to allow land use classification commercial recreation facility indoor within the Industrial 1 zoning district located at 3623 112th Street Southwest. The property is 0.77 acres or approximately 33,946 square feet. The property is currently vacant and undeveloped. The proposed use includes the development of a 10-court table tennis playing facility with a small support structure to contain an office, restroom, storage room, and required sprinkler fire riser room. The proposal includes associated landscaping and parking for development standards found in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A. The proposed land use of commercial recreation facility indoors is allowed in the Industrial 1 with the conditional use permit approval. The proposal is located within an industrial node. Within the project's immediate vicinity, there is a Joint Lewis McCord south of 112th Street, an apartment complex bordering its southern border or southern boundary, a self-storage facility to the east of the proposal, commercial offices, and a public utility pipe storage yard, a public utility transfer station which borders the project on its eastern boundary, and a self-storage and facility bordering the project on its western boundary. The proposal has approximately 226 feet of Interstate 5 frontage on its northern boundary. A conditional use permit is a type 3 action and shall be considered in accordance with procedures for such permits as set forth in Chapter 18A.20 Lakewood Municipal Code Administration. Per Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.20.080, a conditional use permit requires a decision by a hearing examiner. A conditional use permit requires approval from a hearing examiner if he finds that all of the standards and criteria of approval found in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.30.130 have been or can be met subject to conditions of approval. Planning staff has analyzed the proposal and believes that it meets the criteria necessary for approval of a conditional use permit, and if it's constructed and operate in a manner consistent with the recommendations provided in the hearing examiner staff report. A notice of application and hearing notice were issued consistent with Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.20.330 and 18A.20.340. The city did not receive any public comments during the notice of application or public of hearing notice. A request for interagency comments were sent to appropriate agencies and departments. The city received comments from the City of Lakewood Public Works Department and City of Lakewood Building and Safety Division. These comments are provided in Exhibits 21 and 22. Community development staff recommends that the findings be made granting approval of the conditional use permit LU-20-00124 to allow for a commercial facility indoor land use at the subject site following the following conditions. The proposal shall remain in substantial conformance with the proposed site plan, Exhibit 4, and shall gain design review approval, which will ensure compliance with Lakewood Municipal Code Title 18A. Minor modifications consistent with Lakewood's development standards may be reviewed and approved by the community economic development director. Major modifications will require a new CUP. The proposed conditional use permit shall comply with the parking standards associated with commercial and recreation land use described in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.80.30.f. If applicant provides less than 5 parking stalls per 1,000 square feet, the applicant shall comply with requirements found in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.80.060.h. The proposed CUP shall comply with the associated landscape standards found in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.70.150.a1b and Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.70.160.g.3 and Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.70.140.16. The proposed CUP shall comply with the associated lighting standards found in Lakewood Municipal Code 18A.70.040.a.5. The proposed conditional use permit shall comply with the associated tree preservation code found in Lakewood Municipal Code Article 3. The proposed project shall be consistent and comments provided in the September 8th, 2020 memorandum from the Lakewood Public Works Engineering Department, Exhibit 21, and the email from the Building Department on September 8th, 2020, Exhibit 22. It should be noted that the hearing examiner may waive, modify, or add conditions as necessary.
Is that it, Mr. Rodriguez?
That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just trying to understand on the landscaping you rattle off conditions saying that it shall comply with landscaping requirements. The applicant has submitted a landscaping plan, right? Has staff
They have, and the reason I set that as a condition of approval is because it does not satisfy that requirement, and so I'm setting that as in order for this to, for this use to be allowed, it'll have to comply with those standards.
Okay.
The applicant submitted for a design review application, and I will address those issues in the design review application so that they meet those standards.
Okay. I mean, what's can you say what in general they're missing at this point, or?
Well, it's just the buffer widths.
Oh, for the landscape. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And then in terms of, the only impact I can think of for something like this, it's fairly benign. At first, I thought it was a tennis courts. I thought, oh, that could be a noise issue, but it's actually table tennis. So, but it's a membrane structure though. These aren't going to be structural walls involved.
That is correct.
Yeah. So
the majority of it is a membrane structure, with the exception of like the office, the writer room.
So how many people could we have at one time in this facility? Do you know?
I don't know. I know there's room for spectators, but I don't know what the maximum occupancy is.
Yeah. What's I take it, is the freeway noise pretty large? Because I guess noise could still be an issue, especially if they're playing until later at night, although I recognize the staff report mentioned that the hours would be fairly limited. But I mean, would the freeway noise pretty much drown out any additional noise that this project creates anyway, or not?
I couldn't say.
Okay.
I couldn't say if
okay. All right. And then you mentioned about the traffic impacts would be nominal. Did Public Works specifically look at level of service for the surrounding roads and see that there was no impact?
I can't say. I mean, they reviewed the project for consistency, but I don't know if they looked at the public service.
Okay. I mean, I always forget, does Lakewood have a concurrency requirement at all, or that they apply to a project like this or not?
We do, yes. We do. What we have is a list of a criteria that the project has to meet.
For concurrency, even one of this size. And when is that done? Is that done separate from this approval process, or at building?
No, it's worked in within the questions of the CUP. So the questions within the right. So if the questions of the CUP are the criteria, if it's met, then that's the criteria that's gauged whether or not the proposal can be utilized.
So Public Works actually evaluated that for this project and found that it met concurrency then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, good to know. All right, well, let's move on then to applicants then, and see what we have there. That's Ms. Hadeen. Did you want to add anything at this point? And I take it, first of all, have you been sworn in?
I have, yes.
Okay, all right. Was there anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to address the buffer issue and occupancy count really quick, if I may.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
So the buffer, the landscape buffer, we have the actual buffer from the property line to the building. We are just requesting an exception to move where the fence is located, and we're doing that for two reasons. One is for an egress door, and the other one is so that we can provide some landscaping on both sides of the fence to help both properties look a little nicer, rather than having a solid 6-foot wood fence, because there are some security issues in the area that the residents of the apartment have noted on the different reviews of the apartment complex. So what we're hoping to do is to, rather than create an area where things can happen, that we create an opening, a visual connection between the two properties so that eyes can be kept on the spaces. So there's drug deals, transients and such won't be as big of an issue. So that was my comment for the landscape buffer, and the occupancy count. So this is a practice facility. There is not an intention to have bleachers or such where there are going to be a number of people watching, a number of spectators. So the official occupancy count that I have run from the code is either 164 occupants or 110 occupants in the membrane structure. But in reality, there will probably be 25 to 30 people maximum inside the space.
Okay. How
And-
many tables do you anticipate having in there?
10, and I think that the owner, I know that he is part of this call, and he can probably address the occupancy, the actual intended occupancy a little bit better, if you want him to do that.
Sure. Well, well, I got you on. What about I mean, the biggest concern for me, it sounds like, it is potentially the noise issue. I mean, does the freeway noise pretty much drown out anything that the apartment residents would hear, do you think?
I can't imagine that we would be adding to the noise. I can only imagine that with the added landscaping, we would actually be reducing their noise to the site, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, the intended users of this facility aren't going to be a bunch of teenagers that are running around all hours of the night drinking and partying. So, you know, more adults that are going to be playing and like an exercise facility, basically.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Interesting.
So
All right.
I'll talk. I'm the owner and
Okay.
also a member of the Tacoma Table Tennis Club, which is
Okay.
interested in using this.
And
And-
Mr. Caffey, have you been sworn in, just for the record?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
So yeah, the noisiest that you get is a shout of excitement on a point. I mean, the table tennis doesn't generate much noise in general.
Okay. Okay.
The normal occupancy, like we were mentioning, there's 10 spaces for tables, and probably the maximum occupancy you can get is about 4 people a table if you're playing doubles. So you're talking about 40 people, maybe some people waiting, but that's a pretty lively night.
Right. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Well, let's see then if we have any members of the public. It doesn't look like anyone has joined us. So, Mr. Rodriguez, was there any final comments you needed to make?
No.
Okay. Real quick, just to ask you. So, the staff report mentioned, you might have some people walking through the private easement there, and I think it said there are sidewalks that would enable people to walk safely up that easement. Is that correct? And through the apartment complex?
I think there's a walking path up to on the easement on the road to the where the facility would be. So the easement road, the easement road to the facility also has parking for the apartment complex, and so there's a walkable path to that.
Oh, I see. Okay. And I take it, probably since it is sort of a combined parking strip easement, that the cars aren't going 40 miles an hour down there, right? It's more of a slow going place. All right. Okay. Good to know. All right. Thanks, Mr. Rodriguez. And Ms. Sedin, if you want to make any final comments, now's the time.
I have had my say. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Then I'll go ahead and close the hearing, and certainly agree with the staff report for this uniquely shaped piece of property that's a little hard to access and right next to the freeway. This is a great use for it, obviously, and it's my first table tennis facility that I've reviewed. I can do that in the 2,000 hearings I've held. So it sounds great, and sounds like a fairly easy approval. So I'll get that out in the next couple of weeks. And I apologize for the delay today, but thank God we're doing all this remotely, so it was easy, that I wasn't stuck in a hearing 50 miles away, and I could quickly get to this. So thanks for your patience, and I'll get that approval out shortly. So have a great afternoon. Bye.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.